to dance major or to not dance major? That is the question. Hi, my name is Margaret and welcome to my artsy corner of the internet. So we're back talking about college dance majors again. So I thought today we could talk a little bit about, is majoring in dance the right thing to do for you? I should say I'm a little bit biased because I am a dance major at a college right now, and I'm constantly trying to convince myself that this was the correct thing to do. However, there are plenty of professional dancers who did not major in dance, and there's plenty of non-professional dancers who did major in dance. So this is obviously not a fully encompassing list of pros and cons of being a dance major, but it's just some thoughts that I had when I sat down and thought about this. Sometimes I have thoughts. They're not always great, but sometimes I do have them, and I wrote them down this time. So let's talk. By the way, I'm also coming at this from the kind of point of view of you still want to work in dance or be a professional dancer after college. This is just more of, should I major or should I not? If you're interested in another field of study or another part of theater aspects, like you want to be a stage manager or something, I'm probably not the person to ask. I just don't really know much about that. So one of the reasons why you might not want to be a dance major is because you want to study something else. College is a great time to study different things when you have the opportunity and the access to education, and maybe you just have always really wanted to study something besides dance. So I can't really answer whether dance or something else might be better for you because I'm not you. The one thing that I would say though is, this is gonna sound really bad, but from a college student, if you are like, oh, I wanna be a professional dancer, but I've always really loved classic literature and I really wanna be like a classic literature English major, I would personally go with dance. None of my dance classes have really felt like a waste of money. Honestly, anything in college is a waste of money because everything's so expensive. But I have always felt like I get what I need from my dance classes. I have studios, I have professional instruction, I get to perform, and I have dancers to create art on, and that's not something that's super easy to come about in the real world. As for the more liberal arts centered majors, I've had to take some general education classes for just the core requirements of my school. And honestly, a lot of them are, hey, go read this book and then write an essay about it. So if you're really interested in being like a literature major or an English major, honestly, you can probably get a pretty similar education just by reading the books and then like reading some JSTOR articles about them online. And like, I don't know, maybe joining like a book club. And obviously, if you are interested in maybe going into teaching or something where you need a degree, then that's also something to consider. But personally for me, I don't really feel like a lot of the liberal arts classes are worth it. Again, that's my personal opinion just from being in college. But my astronomy class this year, it was a free textbook online and crash course videos. Now again, that was a 100 entry-level class, but literally I paid $5,000 to take an astronomy class that was crash course on YouTube for free and a free online textbook. That was a tangent, but I felt like it was like an older sister duty to tell you that about college. Another reason why you might not want to major in dance is because it's not a requirement. So if you want to be a doctor or a teacher or a lawyer, you have to go to school, you have to hold the degree. But to be a professional dancer, you don't need a degree. You just have to be good at dance. If you have great training that's not within a college, yeah, go major in something else and keep that good training. The degree, as in the piece of paper, doesn't matter in getting a job in the dance world. The only reason why you would need a degree is if you ever want to teach at a college as a dance professor, and then at that point you would need a master's degree, which means you would need a bachelor's degree. But a degree is not required to be a professional dancer or choreographer or own a company or anything like that. Another reason is that you have a lot of freedom if you're not in a curriculum. If you're in a curriculum, you probably have to do ballet, you have to do contemporary, you have to do this anatomy class, you have to do Horton. So if you want more freedom in your training, if you want to be able to do a bunch of different styles, if you want to be able to really be artistic, that's another reason. I've also known a lot of artists who have said that college kind of killed their creativity because you have teachers constantly critiquing your work, and while in some cases that can be helpful, in other cases they really just strip you of your own artistic voice, and basically put their voice onto your work, which yes, sometimes you experience and it's not fun at all. So obviously that doesn't always happen, but you do get more freedom both in what classes you can take, your artistic voice when you're not in a college program. Another reason why you might not want to major is because maybe your college has a really great dance program, but they don't have a major. So I think Princeton is like this, where they have a dance program, like a dance company on campus, but they don't have a dance major. So maybe majoring, again, the piece of paper isn't that important to you, but you can still dance and you want to major in something else while you just continue to dance. So then that way you graduate with a cool degree in something else and you still have good training behind you. Another reason why you might not want to dance is because it's expensive. Yes, college is expensive. There's no getting around it. It's a whole thing. Honestly, college is expensive, and if you don't need it to be a professional dancer and you think you can make it without college, then skip it. Another reason why I would say definitely don't major is if you already have another job that you would be happy with. So if a company offered you a trainee position or an apprenticeship, or if you have a job dancing on cruise ships or with a company, and you're really excited about that job, I would definitely take the job over school. My thought was always, I'm going to college so that I can get a job in dance. So if I have a job in dance, I don't really need to go to college. Another reason is maybe you want to pursue a certificate degree, or you just want to go train with different companies in like an apprenticeship or a trainee role. And that's just another way to get some good training without actually getting the degree. So those were just kind of my thoughts. I'm sure that there's lots of other reasons why you might not want to be a dance major, but now let's jump into the reasons why I think it is helpful to be a dance major. One reason is because if you don't already have a place where you can go and train, it can be really hard to find classes. I know for me, there's not really that many studios around me, and I aged out of all of them when I turned 18. So as soon as I graduated high school, any of the studios that were around me, I could no longer train at. Now there obviously are professional studios, especially if you're in a New York, LA, Vegas kind of area, but those can also start to rack up a bill pretty quickly, because in my college, I have 2 classes in the morning and then I have 1 or 2 rehearsals at night. So that's what, 4.5, that's about 4.5 hours of dancing. Now for an hour and a half class at one of these studios, it might be $30. So if I'm taking 3 classes a day for $30, that's almost $100 a day. So the bill can rack up pretty quickly if you're doing like a Millennium dance. Now, a lot of these people also do have like monthly memberships, which can cut back on that cost. But that's even if you have one of those studios around you. So if you're over 18, it can be hard to find classes, and college dance programs just offer a lot of good classes. So I put another note down that I personally think that although college is ridiculously expensive no matter what, I do think that dance is a good investment, because I feel like the classes are things that I couldn't get online. Oh, my notebook's falling. I do feel like the classes that I get in college are not something that I could replicate. As I kind of talked about, a lot of the core classes, I'm like, I could have learned that online. I could have learned that from a community college. I could have learned that from an online degree program. But for the most part, all of my dance classes, I don't think I could replicate that if I were at home. Another reason why you might want to become a dance major is because of time. Lots of dance programs obviously overwhelm you with technique and anatomies and somatic practices and rehearsals and performances, and that's all great. But you also have access to the studios, and you have 4 years to really develop your own artistic expression and come up with what you want to do. So personally, right out of high school, I didn't feel like I was technically ready to go into the professional world, but I also didn't feel like I had enough artistically to say to go into the professional world. I felt like I needed more time to develop my own personal style and create art that was really bad before I went out and tried to put it on the art market and see how it reacted. So for me, the time of having 4 years to really just put all of my effort into dance and get better technically and discover who I am as an artist was important to me. Another thing that kind of ties into time is maturity. College sometimes feels like halfway between high school and the adult world. And if you feel like you need 4 years to mature more, maybe living away from your family, budgeting, getting a job, and learning how to be a semi-adult before you fully dive into the professional dance world, I think that's a great time also to mature over those 4 years and then be ready for adulting later. Another reason why you might want to go to college is because you don't have a job. Obviously, you need money to go to college, and so you'll probably have to get a job of some sort, but if you really want to be a professional dancer and you don't have a dance job yet, and that's what you really want, you can always just try to go and make it. But if you don't have a job and you don't feel like you're going to get a job in the next couple weeks, months, years, college is a great way to kind of go, continue to train, learn a bunch, while you prepare and maybe start even auditioning for jobs. Another reason why you might want to go to college is because you want serious training. As I said before, I didn't have any real serious dance studios around me, so I never had access to a really intense high-level training. Now obviously if you went to a performing arts high school, this might be different for you, but for me, I had a free recreational program at my school. So we were dancing in a gym in gauchos from the 80s and I loved it so dearly, but it wasn't exactly the kind of program that was pumping out professional dancers. So I felt like I needed more time and I needed a place where I could get some really, really serious training with the intention of becoming a professional. But I've kind of realized now, being in a very professional environment, that there are some things that a professional environment can give you, but there are also some things that a recreational program can give you. And so there are pros and cons, honestly, of both, and I don't honestly know which one I prefer more. Another reason why you might want to go to college is because it's a great place to meet connections. Often we talk about getting the connections from the professors and, you know, like, oh, well, this professor who danced with this company, maybe they have a connection and can get me in. But honestly, I think that the best connections that you make during college are the people surrounding you. Honestly, your professors are pretty old when you go to college, which might be another con, because sometimes you walk in and your professors are 80 and they still think that Lester Horton is new and innovative. And honestly, we love Horton, but that happened in the 20th century. So a lot of your professors have probably been out of the working professional world for a while, and so a lot of their connections have probably run dry. Not always, but a lot of them probably have. So I think some of the best connections that you can make are just with your peers, the other people who are going to college right now, because in 4 years, you'll all be in the professional world, and you don't know who's gonna start their own company or create a movie or do whatever. And so having a good group of friends in college can mean that you have a really strong network once you get out into the professional world. Honestly, when I work with a lot of choreographers, I'm like, how do all of these amazing choreographers know each other? They all went to college during the same time. I also wrote down just 3 questions to think about when you're thinking, should I go to college for dance or not? The first thing you want to ask yourself is, what is my career goal? Do I want to be a dance performer? Do I want to open up a dance studio? So maybe should I major in business instead? Do I want to be a physical therapist? So maybe I want to go down that track. What career do you want? And what pathway do you think would open up the most doors and help you get there? Borrowing a term from economics, what is the opportunity cost? What are you giving up in order to go to college? Or flip-flop that, what am I giving up by not going to college? And then this next one, be really honest with yourself and think, am I actually ready for the professional world? Both, do you feel like you're ready to pay your own rent, pay your own bills, cook for yourself, clean for yourself, and be an adult in that way? But also, do you feel like you could take care of your body? Do you feel like you could hold your own at auditions? Do you feel like you could handle going on tour? And really be honest with yourself. Are you ready for the professional world? Or do you need a little bit more time? And there's no shame in needing more time. I needed more time, so I'm in college. I think sometimes there's this idea that we really have to rush into the professional world because by the time we're 21 and graduated from college, we're going to be too old. And that's just not true. There are plenty of professional dancers well into their 40s. So at 20, you are not too old. So if you want to take those 4 years and mature and find your artistic voice and get really prepared for the professional world, do that, because you're not going to age out of dance at 20. That is stupid and a lie. So I hope these helped you a little bit and made you less confused, not more confused. But if they did make you more confused, sorry. I hope this was at least a little bit helpful. If anybody is a dance major or has been thinking other thoughts, leave them in the comments down below. That way we can talk and chat about the pros and cons of being a dance major. And yeah, thanks for watching. Bye. To be a dance major or to not be a dance major? That is the question. Oh, I should do it in a British accent. To be a dance major, oh no. To be a dance major or to not be a dance major? That is the question. Question.